Though gets a quick kill, and that smoke is really helping him out massively as he has a lot of cover to play with. And he's still holding this forward position, but not for any longer as mousesports are able to come in with all the frags that they need. A very scrappy A-take there, the first that we've seen, but it will go the way of mousesports, and that is very painful at this point for Virtus.Pro. They're already down 7 rounds, and I really feel like we are starting to see a little bit of a desperation start to set in, because the Poles, they know they need to start taking some rounds. They need at least 4 or 5 rounds going in against mousesports in the second half.
Yeah, and I really feel like a timeout might be in order for Virtus.Pro here. You have to start to wonder if they're tilted. They're spending a bit of money in this one. Snax has picked up a Nova, which you don't see every day. Can be used towards the Pop Dog area, for example, and indeed he is headed into that position. But you know, the way Virtus.Pro have lost some of these rounds has been very narrow, so the score doesn't really tell the entire story necessarily. But either way, you know, there are problems here for Virtus.Pro. Maybe a timeout would just kill the momentum for mousesports, even if they don't necessarily need it themselves, because 0-7 is really bad on your CT half. I mean, they can still come back into this, and again, mousesports are gone back to a similar situation where they are playing very passively, but this time they have even less map control than before, because they don't have anybody towards B. And you can see Neo and Taz are in very advanced position, so they can go for a bit of a faster rotation towards A, should it be required. And now Nico is starting to look over towards the A position. And even if he takes down Neo or Taz, Snax could come up the ladder and cause him more problems. That is a smart Molotov for that very reason.
And the play has to come in, and it will. So let's see if mousesports will have any initial problems here as they enter. And there you go, the timing works out perfectly for Neo. First frag, he'll win an AK-47 as well with his Kevlar. And there's got pressure on mousesports now to make this push work. And it's not really going so well. 2 players left in the face of the 4 that still stand for the Polish side as they hold these forward positions. And Spitty, though, able to trade back with 2 quick kills. And Taz is going to chime in there with that deagle. Surgical precision found onto Chris J, leaving Spitty in for the ace if he wants to save his team in this round, and he can very well do it. Able to get the first frag as the smoke goes down. He knows exactly what's going on. Big advantage here for Spitty, but he must plant the bomb, and he can do so safely. Punching in the numbers as Taz needs to get it done with the deagle, and Spitty, he has a lot of time and cover to play this slowly. He's got some grenades there as well. Looking for that last frag, but it's going to be Taz with that AK-47, able to swap out for an AWP as well, and that will finally be a round for Virtus.Pro.
Now, there are problems here for both teams. The problem is in the past for mousesports, in a sense that, again, it's another situation where if things go wrong for them, they don't have any time to give themselves enough time to make the correct decision. They have to just kind of roll the punches there, and it hasn't worked out. And this could have happened in multiple of the previous rounds. The problem for Virtus.Pro is now they've won a desperate 1 round. They're going to buy that and have next to no money left. And if they lose this round, then we may see a 12-3 half here for mousesports, who have lots of money in the bank.
It's definitely a scary prospect. Virtus.Pro to get the momentum going. And to be fair, you know, as you said, a lot of rounds earlier were won by a fine line from mousesports, and Virtus.Pro just haven't had many chances to really show their CT side on train, which historically has been pretty powerful. They've always been a pretty decent train team, but here we go, fast round now for mousesports, switching up the pace a little bit, getting a Dennis in the 4th position, but a quick incendiary to delay them ever so slightly. Maybe that'll make the difference. The Snax is going to get 2 frags, and this push is being completely crushed. Just 2 men left now, and nothing done. The bomb has been lost. It all seems so hopeless.
Is the key in the ignition? Well, maybe not just yet here for Virtus.Pro. Spitty has 2 more players to find, and even if he can't win the round for his team, the damage he is doing is colossal. He still has a minute 10 on the clock as well, and as that clock continues to tick, Virtus.Pro are going to have to start wondering about their backs, but they will survive the test. 2 players surviving, they'll take the round, but again, mousesports can come back at them with another buy. So there are still more financial problems here for Virtus.Pro, but again, is the key in the ignition here? Is the plow activated? They can still win this half. They can still go 8-7 in this half. That's possible.
Yeah, but as so much damage was done, the danger really is that they can't afford to lose this one. If they want to have that strong comeback, they can't afford to possibly lose this one. Obviously, it's always a chance, no matter what kind of buy you have. But if they want a good chance, this has to be the round where they shut it down. And mousesports, they will know that as well, so it's going to be interesting to see what kind of strategy they choose. We'll get a bit of pressure here from Nico in towards the secret area, the upper part of the B-bomb site. just to keep some presence there. So Virtus.Pro are always guessing it, and you do have to do stuff like that because you want to keep Taz honest. Taz always can manage to find really good timings to go for a flank from B on the CT side. So you want to make him doubt himself in that sense by just showing that presence. But now the play will come in towards A for mousesports.
Yeah, well, the smokes have, but they haven't committed. They haven't moved into the site just yet. There are 3 of them around the pop dog area. Are they willing to push? That's the question. Making doubly sure with lots of flashbangs here. Starting to move in now. Bali's on the bomb train though, and he'll get himself 1 frag. Bomb being planted with a minute on the clock. That's unheard of here for mousesports. Maybe that's going to cost them their lives. 2 players remaining here for the mousesports team. They need to get damage in to this CT side. Just Biddy remaining now, and he can't get a single frag. That is a perfect round for Virtus.Pro. Not a single man goes down. Another round on the board here, and now they have some good momentum going, and the money is running out for the T side.
Yeah, we get a pause straight away, which is good to see. And I mean, that strategy there, you've got this situation where it's almost to me like a little bit of a lack of respect going in against Virtus.Pro, because they're saying, all right, we can just go for that blind plant. I mean, pretty much every team these days knows how to stop that. Like, you have to have some extra grenades. On the previous tray map, we saw, you know, the Molotovs going into position to stop the angles from which you can shoot through the smoke as the CTs to kill the guy planting the bomb. You know, like little details like that is what you have to do at this level. And we saw mousesports basically waste a player by just going for that and just kind of gambling that maybe, even though 5 players were alive for Virtus.Pro, that they would be, you know, spamming that spot. So that to me, you know, shows a little bit of a lack of either drilling or thoughts, and a real in for Virtus.Pro.
So you can see, well, you'll see on your screen at the beginning of the round when we go back into the game, the pick 'em predictions. Mousesports 29% at the moment. That's why I don't do pick 'em, Dan. I don't want any bronze trophies. I think I have a bronze bloodhound badge, bronze or silver, and that's it. Everything else must be gold, Dan. So I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm too scared. Especially in this particular tournament, because it's, I mean, there are so many people who could just come out champions, especially because of that group of death. Yeah. So it looks like this could be, sorry, Dan, it looks like this could be a technical pause, I'm assuming. I do wonder, actually, I mean, I know ESL introduced a rule where if it says a technical pause, then the teams can't talk to each other. Yeah. I don't know if that's just the team who called the technical pause, or if that's both teams, or what.
Well, the headphones are off, so perhaps it is a technical one. But I actually felt like it could be a really good timing for mousesports to talk about stuff, because, you know, mousesports, we start, I mean, it just in the nature of the way that they lost that last round, it's kind of one of those rounds where it looks a little bit desperate. It looks like, you know, they need to come together to be on the same page a little bit, because the execution on that play wasn't the best, let's say. And Virtus.Pro, as you mentioned, are very capable of coming back in and even taking this half, because mousesports haven't, you know, nailed down that eight rounds scoreline just yet. So, and the other thing as well for mousesports is that they are a team where they do need to, in many spots, to have that good start, because some of the weaknesses of their team, which is going to be, you know, situations where their economy is poor, they don't have to deal with that, and they can get this situation where all they have to do is just win some anti-ecos and against 2 buy rounds, and they already have a good chunk of rounds, and then they can go onto that CT side where they can do a lot better a lot of the time.
So you can see some of the work Spiddy has been doing for his team. He is top fragging along with Chris J. 12 kills apiece here for the mousesports side. And one interesting thing, actually, you have to wonder if Pash's head is in the game at the moment. The 10 rounds have passed. He's got 1 kill on the board at the moment, and he is responsible for holding down the IB position. Now, I don't know off the top of my head how many buy rounds Virtus.Pro have had, considering they lost 7 rounds in a row. But he needs to pull up his socks and get into this game. Seems we are good to go. I think we have Hoss Biceps on behind the mousesports team. Actually, he's been studying in America, but he's come back for this event, which is pretty cool. I think that's his face in the corner there. So game should be unpaused shortly. We see, well, we see, but you can't see just yet. Virtus.Pro have 2 ops on the map at present and 3 rifles. The money on the mousesports side ranges between $2,500 to $4,000, mostly around a $2,500 mark. So we may not see much from them in this particular round. Now, we know they have these smoke executes into the A bomb site. I would like to see at least that to try and get the bomb down. maybe. I mean, the CTs can still push through it, but they can spend their time walking around the map with Glocks or, you know, try and get themselves a bit of a money bonus and do some damage to the CTs.
Well, they've currently lost 3 rounds already, so they're going to be on a loss bonus of $2,900 for the 4th loss in a row. So,
nice.
I mean, they're in a spot where they could just buy up like 5 deeks and just try to get some frags. They are buying next round no matter what. So get damage in, make life complicated for Virtus.Pro, and because I mean, you mentioned Pasha. He is an emotional player as well. He's supposed to be a star-like, carry-like player, and when he's in the flow, he can do that. He can just go absolutely mental. His skill can hit some crazy heights, and he needs to get the ball rolling. He needs to start getting those frags to do that. He's one of those guys that will power up the more confidence that he has, as opposed to delivering, you know, much more steady rock-like performances. And the double AWP setup, as you mentioned previously, is a good go-to against mousesports. So now Virtus.Pro have an economy somewhat secured. I feel like they have a really good chance here. It is just that danger of this round. If mousesports can get a lot, like maybe kill 3 or 4 players, that would be basically the worst case, I think, for Virtus.Pro.
Nico's hair's pretty swag. I just want to say that. But it seems he's still having an issue with his computer. He's got one of those. Is that a hand warmer, or is that like just a pocket for headphones? I
was looking away and I just caught him with his hands. I thought it was crocheting or something. Is Snacks into crochet? Okay, no, it's definitely not crochet.
No, it's a headphone.
It's a little case
thing.
Little case thing.
But normally you see players fiddling around with hand warmers as well. Always good to come in with warm hands. There are exercises. I think there's a like a JPEG somewhere which has a number of exercises you can do with your hands to try and warm them up faster, should you need to, if you're playing a game, you know, or a tournament or something. So I'm sure somebody can find that and post it somewhere. If you tweet me, I'll retweet it. So Nico's just waiting. Maybe we can get an update as to exactly what is going on in our ears. It's been nice in Cologne so far. Okay, it's a sound issue here for mousesports, so they're going to try and fix that ASAP. But yeah, it's been nice in Cologne so far. We went on a massive walk.
I'm still waiting for my currywurst, James. I'm yet to have currywurst, and yes. I'm angry.
We shall seek one out following the conclusion of today's matches, Dan.
Good.
That's Mr. Hoss Biceps himself. He was, I think he was in that picture of the various DDKs.
Yeah, he cut off his long hair.
He did, yeah. He used to have a mop head, but now he's...
Is that a technical term?
Now he's retired from trying to look like a 90s wrestler, and he's shaved his head for summer, which is always nice.
Neo's a fascinating player, by the way.
He's not wearing his glasses. Has he had like that LASIK stuff, maybe?
I don't know.
I'm too scared to do that. They lift up your eyelids. I'm not having anyone lift up my eyelids. Stay away. I mean, your eye, whatever. Yeah, the front of your eye.
Yeah, like the lens, right?
Yeah, that iris something. No, it's just gross.
Let's just talk about